Before he came on the scene and started talking about this traditional gender role stuff, I had believed a lot of what he was saying, even though he wasn't saying it. It had crossed my mind that the craziness with gender has been a result because the women's rights movement went insane, and I never supported them. Because I just thought I never understood why they always went like to trashy levels. That's why I did it. Like they go so far to where, well, I'm gonna be a slut. I'm gonna, I'm gonna kill all my baby. Like it went to just, but the problem is that Eve sinned, but man is the curse. So Charlie Kirk went on all these campuses and would talk about how women are depressed and it's increased over the years. Oh no, it's always been more women, young women, all ages. And instead of him being in, having any knowledge of God at all and realizing why is that? And that it's because of you and because of this mindset. Instead, he ran around like a baby, like a little baby, all the way to London and debated people about how masculinity was at threat. It's never been at threat. What, because women got the right to vote? So I realized, I'm like, that's when God took me down this other journey where no, this isn't a gender role issue. This is all craziness because men have always, most especially in the church, but other places, continue to want to oppress women. Not all men, but I had no idea that there was, in 2025, that there was men like this. With this traditional gender role, and him and Erica would make it sound like, oh no, it can be wonderful. No, you're the reason. You are the reason there is more women in society throughout history that are more depressed. Because you don't represent whatever vision you have in your head of what masculinity looks like. It's either you're a total asshole, okay, and just see women as your toy, or you think it's some physical thing, that being all ripped, and it's really, to women, it's about men that will protect them. There's really not many that do. I'm sorry, there isn't. I take no joy in saying that, but there really isn't. Is there police and stuff? Like, yeah, they do. It's their job. But in the biggest area, man has never been a protector. But I don't think that's what God wanted anyway. God was the protector. Which is why when Jesus came, I could see why that was so liberating to women. Here he was paying attention to them. He was teaching them. He was giving them the most important roles. I mean, that's how you knew he was God. Because there was no man here that was like that. Really, even today. I mean, there's very few. And then it makes it worse because you get your lunatic women, okay? And I think every woman in society knows that crazy place that some men will, men do it. They do it. They push it. But then I see it on their side too, how, but what the man doesn't realize is you've always had the power to change it all. You always had the power to stop keeping the curse on. God didn't place a curse on anyone. That should have been proven after Jesus, because Jesus lifted the curse. He did. That's what he did, to sacrifice himself. But what was going to be the greatest enlightened moment that everybody should have had? was that, oh, look, Jesus came, sacrificed himself, lifted the curse, but the curse is still going on. Why? Because the curse was never from God. Man was going to keep the curse going because man would sooner follow Satan and be deceived by him for 6,000 years while complaining that Eve was deceived once. The church doesn't want to have women at the top of leadership positions because women are more likely going to report abuse. I understand there are women that abuse. There is. There are crazy women, and so those crazy women is why then men think, oh, no, he's right. Yeah, no, not all women are crazy, okay? But more women are likely to report abuse to children. It is clearly more men that abuse children. I mean, when it comes to the molestation problem in the churches, than it is women. That's obvious. So when somebody like him comes along and talks about this traditional gender role, you're not helping society. You're just making everybody in the world believe that somehow if women knew their place and stayed there, that society would be better. No, that's how you've had it your whole life. In every era throughout history. That's why trafficking has gone on since the beginning of time. The selling of women and children. And that's the reason the church doesn't want to let women lead. And women should be more than glad to want to get out of the churches because they don't know God. They know a book. God came to give you the Spirit, and Jesus knew it was going to be women that most definitely would carry it on. Again, why would that be? Because of the oppression women have been put under. That we don't know if prior to the sin, if Eve, because there was no construct of femininity or masculinity. Feminism came as a result of the crazy masculinity. There is such thing as a toxic masculinity. But see, I don't even look at it as, I look at it, there was no masculinity here. But regardless, God didn't create it. Man created it in their own head. And then failed to see that God never told them to dominate women. Never. God is always testing. Did you not realize that God many times was testing you? Is this what you're going to do? You're going to keep doing this? And he knew you would. So yes, Eve sinned. And because of that, man fell into sin because he sinned too. And because he was going to take on his masculinity role for 6,000 years, or to this day, there would be a continued power balance, except man, especially the Christian men, never realizing that there's no coming into union with God until you first can see women as equal. On YouTube, on this channel, I went off because of this video, and I've gotten so many men coming, and with the stupidest things, saying things such as that the man was created first. The Bible does not teach that men and women are equal. God never says prior to the sin that they're unequal. Why would you think that they are unequal? It's the Garden of Eden. It's perfection. Of course they would be equal. So see, no thinking. Feminism is the rebellion against men. Yes, it is. It is. It is God's rebellion against men. Jesus came to liberate women. And because they receive the Holy Spirit and they hear the shepherd's voice and follow it, God influenced them, because that's what it talks about in the Bible. The Spirit of God will influence. He influenced them to create the feminist movement.